What is up, everybody? It's JT, and I'm back to you guys with another video. In this video, I'm here with another story time. This is the story time of how I first got played. Now, this took place a couple of years ago, back in 2016, my freshman year of high school. And my freshman year of high school was one of the best years of my life. It was the best year I ever had in high school. And a big reason because of that was because a lot of people that was in my high school my freshman year, they were really fun people to be around, man. It's just like the vibe freshman year was just so great, man. And a lot of those people that I was really cool with my freshman year, we ended up not graduating together because they ended up going to different high schools and whatnot. And then another reason why I really enjoyed freshman year was because I was pulling freshman year. And I don't know how I was pulling freshman year because I only had like 4 or 5 different outfits and I only had 2 pairs of shoes. So I don't know how I was pulling. I guess I had like a good talk game or whatnot. So I'm chilling in gym with my homeboy. And, you know, I'm telling my homeboy to put me on some upperclassmen because me being a freshman, I was really immature. And being immature is kind of like a turn off once you try to mess with the females that are a little bit older than you, like seniors and juniors. And nobody wants to mess with somebody who's immature. So I told my homeboy to put me on, right? So he said, all right, JT, I got you. What grade you want? I said, man, just try to put me on for junior. He was like, all right, JT, I got you. So he comes back 5 minutes later. He's like, hey, JT, come here, man. I got somebody for you. So he ends up putting me on with this girl. We're going to name her Raquisha. Now, Raquisha, she was all right. She was like a 7 out of 10. She wasn't all that, you know. And, you know, me and her, we're talking. Her friend was right there. You know, I'm making them laugh and things like that. So I get her number. And after I got her number, like, I didn't really talk to her until, like, a couple of months later. Because Raquisha, like, she was like a 7 out of 10. She wasn't all of my radar. Like, she was straight. But I didn't really want her. Because it was 5 girls ahead of her on my list that I actually wanted. I used to talk to females in high school. Like, I used to have a little draft board. I used to treat this thing like the NFL draft. So, basically, you know, the first 2 weeks, that's the scouting combine. That's when I'm scouting out the talent. I'm scouting out the girls that I want. I'm scouting out who looks nice, who has a nice personality and things like that. And then after the second week, you know, I dumb down my draft board. I have to take some girls off because, you know, I try to talk to them. They don't like me. They don't want to mess with me and things like that. Or they just not my type. So I dumbed down my list of 5 females. Now, Raquisha was 6 on the list. It was 5 females ahead of her. Now, the female that was number 1 on my list, I originally was supposed to be dating her. Now, the reason why I was supposed to be dating her was because the only reason I went to that high school that I attended, that I ended up finishing all 4 years at, surprisingly, was because the only way I could go out with this girl, she said the only way we'd end up going out is if we went to the same high school because she didn't like doing long distance relationships. So I had my grandma, you know, sign me up for the school and things like that. She went through a lot of trouble to get me in that school because that wasn't even the school I was supposed to go to. I was supposed to go to this school called Rains High School because that's my neighborhood school, but my grandma knew somebody that worked for the school board that was able to pull some strings to get me in there. So first week we supposed to be dating, but she ends up having a whole entirely different boyfriend that wasn't me. So first week right off the bat, she already has a boyfriend. I'm like, bro, what? That wasn't it. This wasn't supposed to how this was supposed to go, man. So I had to scratch her off the list. Now the second girl on the list, I'm not going to say her name. I'm not going to name any of these females' names because they're irrelevant to the story. I'm just giving you guys a little bit of a background of the girls who was ahead of Raquisha. So the second girl, like, she was all right, but I guess I waited too long because, like, I'm a person, I got a short attention span. Like, I like to spread my wings, so I'd be all over the place. So basically, I wanted her initially, but then after a few weeks, I didn't really want her like that. But when I did want her, she already had a boyfriend, and she said that I took too long. So I had to scratch her off the list. Now, number 3 and 4, I just ain't really want like that. Like, they just wasn't my type. And the last girl, number 5, I wanted her, but she was in a relationship, and the only reason she was on my list was because I was waiting for their relationship to fall apart, and I thought if their relationship fell apart, I'd be able to swoop on in and, you know, scoop her on up. But they ended up, you know, rebounding their relationship. You know, they was breaking up, they was getting back together. Eventually, you know, their relationship started, you know, getting back on track, and it was really strong. So I had to cross off the list. So in December was when, you know, I got bored around Christmas time, and I started to mess around with Raquisha. So I text Raquisha Merry Christmas. And right off the bat, I'm already doing dumb things. Now, I'm really lazy because I'm not really good at balancing multiple females. So when I text one female something, I will most likely text it to like 5 other females. Like, for example, on iMessage, you have the ability to send one message. So what I would do on iMessage, and I still do this right now, I would say hey, and I would send it to 6 other females. So 6 other females will be getting hey or what's up from me, basically. Now, on Instagram, which is where I had text her on, I text her a Merry Christmas. Now, I text her a Merry Christmas to 6 other females, but instead of it individually sending Merry Christmas to those 6 other females individually, it made a whole entire group chat. So I made a group chat. I'm sitting here in bed. I'm like, dang, man, how am I going to explain the fact that I just created a group chat? So I just said, you know what, my bad. You know, I ain't mean to create a group chat, things like that. And everybody was pretty understanding. It was like, LOL, Merry Christmas, JT. So I ended up texting her Merry Christmas. We ended up getting on the phone and things like that. We talking about what we got for Christmas, and, you know, she talking about what she got for Christmas and things like that. So we hitting it off. So around March, we started kind of somewhat getting serious. We wasn't serious, but you know, we was kind of taking each other serious. Now, I was still looking for better options because, like I said, she was a 7 out of 10. So I was looking to upgrade from her. But I mean, she was doing for the time being because she had a good personality and she was all right. So here was the first red flag. So one day, I walk into 4th period. I had math 4th period. And she's walking with me. And she walks past this boy. And this boy say, hey, what's up, Raquisha? And she says, oh, hey. And she walks away from me, goes up to him and gives him a hug. Now, this isn't your normal typical, you know, your little side hug and things like that. I'm talking about he bear hugging her junk. So I'm just looking at her. She come back. I'm asking her, I'm like, hey, man, who that is? She was like, oh, JT, don't worry about it. He's nobody. You don't got to worry about him. So a couple of weeks later, I'm sitting here, me and her, we still texting things like that. And then one day, I'm in 4th period. I had math 4th period. Now, for those of you guys who ever had math 4th period, math goes incredibly slow on a Friday. So it's Friday, it's 4th period in math, school's almost over, but it seemed like, you know, everything was taking a long time. So I asked my math teacher if I could go to the bathroom, not because I had to use the bathroom, but just because I wanted to walk around, because I was just getting really bored in class and it was taking forever. So I'm sitting here going to the bathroom, right? And I'm in the main building. The high school that I went to had 3 different buildings, and every single building had like several stories on it. Now, the main building was 3 levels. Now, my math class was on the 3rd floor, so I ended up walking down to the 2nd floor, right? So I go down to the 2nd floor, you know, and I'm just walking around. So I turn and I go down one hallway. And when you go to the back of the hallway, normally you have the staircases to the other floors in the back of the hallway as well. You also have staircases in the front of the floor. So I'm sitting here, I go to the back of the hallway, right? And I turn the corner, and by the steps, I see her and this crocodile-looking boy just kissing. Like, they in this joint, they getting dirty. I'm talking about they in that joint. I'm talking about they in that joint, passionate kissing. And she see me come around the corner, and she kind of eyeballs me out the corner of her eye. And I'm just staring at her. I'm staring at her. I'm like, yeah, ho, I see you. I see you doing your little dirt, man. You see, I see you. You ain't slick, man. You ain't slick. That same boy you told me not to worry about, you kissing. But he was a nobody, right? Now, this is freshman year, so, like, I was really naive. I didn't really, you know, I'm young at this point. I'm, like, 14, 15 years old. So, you know, I ain't know when a girl tells you not to worry about him, that's the same boy that she ends up messing with. So, I mean, I was really naive. I ain't know. But now I know if a girl ever tells me, you know, not to worry about him, you know, it's nothing. I know that they messing around. So, I know that he probably effing her brains out. So, I end up getting home after the whole entire incident, and I'm upset, man. Like, I wasn't upset because, you know, she slid on me. I was more upset because the fact, like, I didn't even like you like that, and I give you a chance when I could have been messing around with other females, and you sit here and you do this trifling behind stuff. So, I'm sitting here upset because, you know, I just got played, And I go home. You know how when you get home, you take like an after school nap. So I wake up from my after school nap on Friday. It's like 6 o'clock when I wake up. And I'm sitting here with a message from her. She's like, JT, you okay? And I respond, I'm like, yeah, I'm straight. Now in my head, you know, I'm still a little bit upset. Like, I wanted to spaz out. I wanted to drop her jump, man, on some Ray Rice type jump, but I don't hit females. But that's just how mad I was. So she ends up texting me this long paragraph about how I waited too long, how she felt I didn't want her initially and things like that. And by the time, you know, I started, you know, talking to her and taking her serious and things like that, she was already messing around with Crocodile Mouth. So I mean, I wasn't upset. Well, I was upset, but it wasn't because, you know, I got played. It was more because of my pride, man. Because the fact that she slid on me for Crocodile Mouth, that just really irritated me. So then, you know, even despite the fact that I caught her kissing, like, she still texting me. She was still blowing my phone up and things like that. And I guess Crocodile Mouth got offended because Jit wanted the grid over Raquisha. Now, me, I will fight anybody. Like, everybody knows that I'm on gold 24/7. But it's only one reason why I would not fight somebody, and that's over a female. Because there's too many females in the world to be fighting over one. And I mean, look, I'm somebody, like, I take pride in myself. Like, if I fight somebody, win or lose, I'd rather lose a fight or, you know, fight somebody and lose and still be able to go to sleep at night knowing that, you know, I stood up for myself versus not fighting at all, getting my car pulled, getting punked, and having to go to sleep dealing with, you know, me getting punked and the back of my mind. And that haunts you. Like, for people, you know, who get bullied and things like that, that's number one reason why people, you know, always have so much animosity towards other people when they get bullied, because, you know, they don't do nothing about it. They tell the teacher and things like that. But me, I don't care what the consequences is. I'm going to defend myself, but I would not bump over a female. And if I ever have a son and he ever gets in a fight over a female, I'm going to be his behind my doggone self, because there's too many females out here to be bumping over a female. And a lot of these girls ain't even worth the time anyway. So, I mean, so I end up, you know, after a whole entire incident, like, I'm played and things like that. So I end up a couple of weeks later, I end up bouncing back. I'm messing around with somebody else. That's another story for another day. But this is it for the first time I got played, man. And I learned a valuable lesson from this story. And the valuable lesson I learned from this story is the same boy that a female tell you not to worry about, they messing around with. So if you ever have a girlfriend and she goes up and she hugs another boy in front of you and you ask her who that is and she tells you not to worry about it, they got something going on. So make sure that you guys like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel for more videos and content, and I appreciate you guys for watching.